My girlfriend said to me a while ago, I was going through a breakup and just heartbroken. And when things are falling apart in a relationship, like we usually lean in even more and we want to fix it. And like I'm definitely a doer and a fixer. And she said to me, you can only show up for 100% of your 50% of the relationship. And I thought that was so beautiful. So that practice for me, this 6-month training was, how do I learn to trust myself? How do I learn to follow my gut? How do I, if I see a color come up, what is the meaning of that? If I see words come up, or if I get that hit of call this person, or I just know I should do this, to just trust it and follow it.
Sun is coming up, are you ready to go? We can take a ride, we can take it slow. Yeah.
When I say like self-trust, surrender, what comes up for you?
Mm. Oh, I think that's such a beautiful phrase, like worthiness and deserving. Like those are such big words for me. So a couple of things come up. The most immediate thought is that's really us leaning into our intuition and learning to trust ourselves. And during COVID, I took an intuition training because I've always had visions in my meditations. When I was a little kid, I had to go look at ink blot tests. My parents thought I was, losing my mind or something. So I was doing ink blot tests and had really intense dreams. And now it turns out, oh, that's actually my intuition. And I didn't trust myself enough to listen to it. So, when you have that feeling, that gut feeling, or you just knew that you're supposed to do something, or something goes wrong, like, oh, I just knew it. I knew I should have gone left, or not trusted that person, or not done this, or I should have done this instead. That feeling, we're so quick to discredit ourselves. And I took that training because I was having really strong visions and meditations. I was hearing voices. I was feeling really deep feelings of knowing, and it freaked me out because I didn't believe it. I didn't trust. I didn't know what it was, and I thought I was broken. And this was only a year ago. And in my experience, when we ignore that intuition, when we push it down, it gets louder and louder and louder. It's like trying to push a beach ball underwater. It just comes back up with more force. So that practice for me, this 6-month training, was, how do I learn to trust myself? How do I learn to follow my gut? How do I, if I see a color come up, what is the meaning of that? If I see words come up, or if I get that hit of call this person, or I just know I should do this, to just trust it and follow it. And the more I started to hone that, the more those messages started to come through. So it became this practice where it's like, maybe even speaking to higher self, younger self, whatever version of self. Hey, I love you. I trust you. I'll follow that. Okay, great. I'm building trust. I'm building trust. I'm building trust. And now I don't double guess myself as much as I used to. And that's what leads me into the past version of what self-trust is. When I started Mala, that story is very cool. Meeting that lady on a plane, I had no idea how to run a business. I was in extreme self-doubt. And I can't emphasize extreme enough. I was in tears almost every single night thinking, I'm not enough. I'm not good enough. They're going to find out I'm a phony. They're going to find out, they're emailing me about their marriage is falling apart, or they're going through a sex change. They're going through these beautiful, incredible journeys of rebirth. And who am I to answer that on the other end? Who am I? I'm not good enough to do that. If they find out who I am, they're going to be really upset. And I had to work on loving myself enough, trusting myself enough to be able to hold space for other people. And I mean, that might sound quite abstract, but the example here is I was doing a meditation and this voice said, Ashley, get over yourself. You playing really small and being in a place of fear is robbing so many people of the beautiful experience. Get over yourself, get over your fear. It's so selfish. I don't mean that in the way of ego, that if I don't show up, they're never going to find themselves. Of course, there's so many paths. When people are searching, they're going to find the right path. But it really was this wake up call of like, nobody really thinks they're enough. Nobody truly feels they have everything. And that's why we actually launched our I'm Enough collection, was because of my self-doubt. So a lot of the things we create at Mala are a very honest representation of my fears, my limiting beliefs, my whatever's coming up. And what I think is so human and beautiful about that is it's been our best-selling collection for 10 years because everyone can identify with some form of limiting belief. And I mean, it's beautiful and it's vulnerable and it's real. So I think that trust is also just the human experience that we all are working on, that self-trust.
Can you give us like the first step that you took to break free? Even though I'm sure you still battle with it today, just like a
Of
regular
course.
human, but like
Yeah.
what was that first kind of like step you took towards trusting yourself?
Mm. Oh, that's such a good question. Honestly, I'm just having these visions of myself eating Thai food in my underwear and crying and just answering the email anyway. And just doing it anyway and just pressing send or answering the phone. Or I think I was also not really scared to make an ass of myself. I would show up to these meetings and just really humbly, hey, I really believe in what I'm doing and I really love some feedback. And so I was willing to look uh, foolish at times, and I was willing to be wrong, and I was willing to just be led by the intention and by curiosity. But now I've started coaching people around this, around purpose, around stepping into potential, overcoming limiting beliefs. I think now that I know in hindsight, there's a few things like, of course, meditation is such a gift. It's just quieting the thoughts and getting to know yourself. I'm a huge fan of journaling, huge fan of talking to other people and normalizing those fears. I think that a big part of it is knowing that you're not alone. I used to think that I was the only person to screw something up that bad in business. And I'd share it with a group of people like, oh, yeah, I did that twice last week. Oh, okay, I'm not by myself. There's something about knowing that we're not alone in it. And I would say, like, go for a walk. When you notice that spiral start to hit, do something that's going to interrupt the pattern. Get up, go for a walk, move to another place in your apartment, go grab a coffee, call a friend that you love, like something that just gets you out of that moment. So, I mean, there's so many tools, but those are some of them. And I think that it's also just the integration between, like, it's just the practice of being kind to yourself. It's not going to all of a sudden happen. When I coach people, there's not like a light bulb moment between like session and 4 and 6. It's how much integration and work you do in the in between.
Which is the hardest part. The in between is the hardest part. It's easy to show up for the calls. It's easy to do the assigned work, but like the in between is where everyone struggles, because the only person that's holding you accountable is you, and that's so annoying.
Yeah, it's a lot of work. And I had a coach once actually where I didn't do the work. He's like, okay. I was like, oh no. He wasn't angry. He was just disappointed. And that was the worst feeling. Cause I was like, oh yeah, you're right. Doesn't matter to you if I didn't do the work. It matters only to me.
Yeah, that's what makes, I think, a really good coach. And this is something that I've really worked on really, really a lot, is releasing the need for my clients to see any type of result, and knowing that like all I can do is show up and do what I said that I was going to do. And if the other people, if my clients don't show up or they don't do their work in between, like, that's not on me. And I think that we can also apply that to every part of life. Like, you show up and do the things that you say you're going to do, and how other people react, how other people take it, how other people show up has nothing to do with you, and it's not your responsibility. I mean, that's so liberating.
It is. My girlfriend said to me a while ago, I was going through a breakup and just heartbroken. And when things are falling apart in a relationship, like, we usually lean in even more and we want to fix it. And like, I'm definitely a doer and a fixer. And she said to me, you can only show up for 100% of your 50% of the relationship. And I thought that was so beautiful, because how many of us like overstep into their side of the relationship and try to do their work for them? And it's like, you can't help someone who doesn't want to be helped. You can't do that for someone who doesn't want it. So that is a humbling lesson.
I love that. You can't show up for more than 100% of your 50% of the relationship, or really anything.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yes. Yeah.
Sit with that for a second. Now it's on the road to self-love. Is there any final juicy thoughts that you'd love to share or feel called to drop in with?
Oh, I mean, I feel like the thing that's just coming up is just that mantra, I'm enough, is just so powerful. If you just try writing on a sticky note, putting it on your mirror and lipstick, writing it on anything, and just carrying it with you for a little bit, I think it's just a reminder that can shift so much for each of us. So just that reminder that you are all enough.
Thank you so much. Everyone, make sure to go follow, go buy some mala beads, go get the You Are Enough collection, and we will see you next time on the road to self-love.